Here it says the most beautiful words to be said by a woman. I'm back in the Czech Republic, and I'm looking at this as the baggage thing. I don't know which of these Prague vlogs it's going to be because I'm a bit behind on numbering them, and I'm not quite sure at the moment as to how far on I am with numbering them. But basically it's well, I'll find out later on when I get up to date with putting them all together exactly which number of the Prague vlogs this is. But I just film them whenever something comes up, and it has now here in the place where your baggages come round on the baggage retrieval thing, zavezadlo as it's called in Czech. This Sixt advert, the most beautiful words to be said by a woman, your rental car is in the Sixt car park. Well, that's a very sexist advert, isn't it, really? It's almost like what they call an anti-reclama or an anti-advertisement. And what are they trying to say by that? That women are not capable of saying anything more edifying or more beautiful or aesthetically pleasing than your rental car is in the Sixt car park? Maybe men are, maybe women can't say anything better than that, but men can. Or maybe it's saying that we only employ women to be our car givers, which in itself would be against European law. So one way or another it's big trouble, this thing here. So it's not exactly what we like to see. So but in any event, it's revealed to me where the term Sixt actually comes from. It's actually probably an abbreviation of sickest, because they have the sickest jokes on their advertising. So that's got them back a little bit for that. Well, it's an early morning in Prague, and it's just behind the street called Benedictska, with the nice washing of the lamps. We're next to something called Passage Kotva, which is like a kind of indoor passage which leads to Kotva shop, which is the anchor shop. Obviously we come in peace. I've recorded before the Czech penchant for strange salt and pepper pots, and here we have slanka a pepšenka, again yin and yang, and two people hugging each other. That's actually quite nice. They look slightly alien-like. In addition to that, this shop has like ants playing different kinds of, sorry about the reflection on the glass, I don't know what I can do about it, just put my hand up maybe or something, but there's like different little ants and things all playing different musical instruments, and the one on the end here is controlling it all from a computer. It looks quite interesting. Little sculptures. That's for 1,250 crowns, the one with a computer at the end. So that would be, what would that be? It's about 25 to the dollar, so what we're talking about, $50 I suppose for that. And it's got some sort of like shops in it. It doesn't really connect any communications nodes to each other, but it ends up going into the shop called Kotva, and there are a few restaurants and things which are open till quite late at night. There's an internet cafe there for those of you that might be in Prague and want to know how to get onto the internet and watch my films. So in there. And this takes you into Kotva, which is a department store of, I think, of quite some vintage. And here we come into the light. The change from dark to light is something this camera doesn't handle very well, so it looks like I'm kind of having a near-death experience or something, but that's not the case. And so here we see the Palladium over on that side, and which I think I've shown before, and the Kotva store up there with the Kotva logo over the door. There's a nice interesting entry to the Albert store underground. If I'm not mistaken, that's a Dutch based store from Ahold. And so Kotva's a strange shape of building. It's all full of this store. Certain of the floors are being kitted out now afresh. And we're coming into the pedestrian precinct area. From here only the trams go on, all the cars have to turn right at that point. And here it's only trams and cars with permits that are allowed to continue. And this is one of the biggest Czech banks, ČSOB. I'm not sure exactly what the O stands for, but I think it's something like Český spořitelný, something like Obecní banka. Not sure if that's the case. What the O stands for, I'm not quite sure, but it's something like that anyway. Whenever you see the ch, the C with a haček on it, it almost certainly stands for Český. But other words in Czech also begin with the C haček. Čerstvý means fresh, for example. So it could be that it actually means the fresh bank, but I doubt it. There's the Národní banka down there, which is the Česká národní banka. And there's the Obecní dům, which is the public house. That doesn't mean what you think it means, by the way. It just means it was the house where you could go and, watch concerts and things. It's got quite an amazingly ornate dome on it, and you can see the roof of the powder tower behind. I'll just get by ahead of this bus, I think. Bus and a tram behind it. So there we have it. So here, in this mini market, we have one of the main Czech products known in all the world, becherovka. It's a mixture of all sorts of spices in alcohol. Comes from Carlsbad, which is Karlovy Vary. Carlsbad was its sort of Habsburgian name in German. And so becherovka, Karlovarská becherovka. There's the small bottles, and these are the big bottles. It's a sort of herbal drink. On top of that, you've got, in the Czech Republic, you've still got a drink which is called absinthe, which you can buy legally, and some of the bars around here also serve it. And absinthe is one of the hardest hitting alcoholic drinks which are available to drink in the world, which is one of the reasons why absinthe is not available in a lot of countries, but it's still available in the Czech Republic. It's kind of the alcoholic equivalent of Semtex, if you like. It sort of knocks you out. Some people, talking about absinthe and being a little bit facetious, say absinthe makes the brain grow fonder, but I think it probably makes it grow fonder of absinthe rather than anything else. So in fact, it may not be all that cognizant of much else. So the Czech Republic, of course, is noted for its alcoholic delicacies, but most of all the beer. And if you come to the Czech Republic, you have to try that. Even people that don't normally drink beer, unless of course they're recovering alcoholics. I don't suggest that if you're a recovering alcoholic that you try this, but if you're just somebody that doesn't particularly like alcohol, and I must admit that I'm pretty much one of those people. I don't drink an awful lot, I don't enjoy it that much, but you still don't get the full Czech culture without the taste of their beer. and of course Pilsen and Budweis, which is Plzeň and České Budějovice respectively in Czech language. They are the main brewing centres of this country, so you have to try their wares. This is probably the most tight corner you've got trams hurtling down here, down Dlážděná Street, and you'll see that at that corner there and at this corner there, in order to make the tram line work, they've had to cut the street in very, very close to the buildings. So obviously you couldn't fit yourself safely around that corner, or that corner. So both of them have been fenced off with a fence, and you've got to go sort of like through the actual building part. The pavement itself here sort of cuts down to almost nothing, and the same on that side. But you go through the buildings. That side is as well as narrow on the building side. This is an old cafe, Arco, which hasn't been actually working for some years. Which is a big pity, because this guy, whose name is Franz Kafka, the famous literary son, the most famous literary son of Prague, he lived from 1883 to 1924, and his work and his life were both closely connected with this cafe, this Arco Cafe. So it's a big loss, a big pity that nobody seems to be able to get their act together and actually restore it and open it to the public and let us have a taste of what Kafka experienced. I don't mean a taste of what it's like to be in the trial, or to change into a beetle when you're sleeping or something like that, although he didn't experience that, he just wrote about it. This is the train station called Masarykovo nádraží, which is one of the major train stations in Prague. There are quite a few of them.